Alrighty guys, so welcome back to my channel today, and we are doing another Sims 4 house building video today. So today is a very special day because you know why? Because the Sims franchise has turned 17 years old today, and I feel so happy because this game has literally changed my life for the better because I grew up with this game. Not technically grew up, but I was 4 years old when I started playing this game, and it feels so weird because I'm like, wow, just wow, that blows my mind. I literally grew up with this game. I have never played a game for this long in my entire life. Like, I played other games like for like probably like a month or two or probably like a year. But this game has always been my go-to game ever since I was a child. And it was like my go-to happy place. Like, whenever I felt sad or I was bored or I wanted to just be happy for once. And I always, like, no matter what happened, I always came to The Sims, like, no matter what. And still to this day, I still play this game for the fun of it, and plus for YouTube, and I love it. It makes my day. But either way, okay, I don't know if people can relate to this, but, okay, whenever I was a child, and still to this day, I play The Sims, like, it's like, I'm sick, I can't go out, I don't have time, and literally I say that, and then like, about 2 after I do the phone call or whatever, I come back home and play The Sims for like 17 hours straight or whatever. I literally am the worst friend ever, but still, whatever, I can never stop playing this game. It's like my go-to place to go. Even though I wish one day I could just hop into The Sims and just play as like I'm there with them, but I always gotta do it through a screen, whatever. But either way, so in the comments below, let me know how old were you guys when The Sims was released, and how old were you when you started playing it, because I really do want to know, because I think that'd be kind of cool to like kind of relate to you guys. Like, can you relate to me? Like, I really want to relate, so I'm not alone. But yeah, so today I am building a Sims 4 house. I am building like a very abandoned looking house just because I wanted to build a house that was looking abandoned. I've always wanted to build an abandoned house, but I never really had like the objects or like the tools to build one. But today we do have objects that I can actually use from the Sims 4 Vampire game pack, and as well as some other packs as well, like Get Together and stuff like that, but mostly from the Sims 4 Vampire game pack. So I wasn't going to build a traditional house for this one, just because I want to do something a little bit different, because I know that some of the houses I built for the past 3 days are kind of like the same, kind of like they have a distinct style to, like more of a homey vibe. I wanted to build an abandoned homey vibe, so that's the thing today. But also there's a story to this house, so yeah, I feel so happy, because if you don't know who Annabelle Pierce is, if you don't remember that 10K house build that I did about, I don't know, probably like 5 days ago. So if you don't remember that house, I told a story about Annabelle and how she died and her whole backstory. But I was like, you know what? There's a lot more to say about Annabelle, so I'm going to do it in this build today. So if you guys don't know, Annabelle died suddenly of a weird death. So she died, and people didn't really know how she died, and I didn't know either. Like, it was really weird because like the way she died was very unexpectedly weird. It wasn't very like human like for her to die just like this. So when I was building this, like when I was like discovering this house, I came up with this story, and I realized that Ebenezer Maxwell lived in this house. He's like a random Sim that I made, like a couple, like, well, I haven't made him yet, but it's like, stories, either way. So Ebenezer Maxwell actually lived in this house back in like the 1800s, and in the 1800s, like, he was discovered as a vampire in the 1800s, and the people of that town ran him out of town. Like, basically, let's see, Forgotten Hollow wasn't technically your ordinary vampire world all vampires lived. It was like an actual town full of humans and people in the folk town. There was like a town council, and also like it was like a weird town. And he was the only he wasn't known back then as a vampire, but later on someone found him late at night, and the word got out. People started to talk, and rumors started going around. The rumors were true. He was a full-on vampire, and then he got ran out of town in his own flippin' house. And the weird part is that no one really like people did were scared of him, and people didn't want to be around him at all. And with Ebenezer, he basically he lived on for for a lot of years, and like later he died back in like the year 2000, whatever. I don't know. Whenever I forget when Annabelle was born. I forget. Was she? Because she died, and then like a couple of years afterwards, they foreclosed her house, and then I think she was born like the 1970s. I'm gonna say the 1970s, and she was born around that time. But with Ebenezer, he lived until like the year 2000. And so what happened was that he came back to his hometown where he lived, grew up, and all stuff like that. Well, he kind of where he lived, because his parents are like pretty much dead anyway, because it was like the 1700s when they were born, and then now they're all dead. But either way, so Ebenezer Maxwell came back to his house just to live in it again, because he basically lived his life as a homeless person, and I wanted to basically build this house for him to make it look like it was an abandoned place, because it hasn't been here for like let's say 200 some odd years. Like basically this house has been here for 200 some odd years and has not been taken care of, and the plants have overgrown, and there were so many decrepit looking cracks on the wall. It looked like it was falling apart. It felt like it was going to just break down into whatever. And we come back to about 130, no, 200, well, let's say 100, okay, 1800s, 18, he was born like 17 something, but he lived in this house in the 18, like the actual 1800s, like 1800. And so we'll move forward about 170 years later, 170 years later, Annabelle Pierce was born, and she lived her life as a normal child, and then later on she like died about when she was around like 30-ish, whatever, around that range. Let's move forward back in the year 2000 range. But when she was a child, she used to come, like, she was here. She came to this house when she was like a child. Like, it was like a go-to happy place, technically, because she used to she was a weird child, technically. Let's just say she was a weird child. And she used to come to this house when she was a child just to play around, have a little fun with her friends. She didn't know what was going on. She's just playing abandoned houses all her life, which is really, really weird. And with Annabelle, she basically found this one thing that connected to her to this house. And the one thing I never thought in a million years, I was like, okay, no, it can't be true. Annabelle and Ebenezer are not related. Somehow they're related, but they're not. But they really are related. It's so weird, because Ebenezer Maxwell is Annabelle's fourth great grandfather. That's jacked up on all levels. It's so weird. Actually, no, it's not her. No, hold up. Not her fourth. No, because, okay, with Ebenezer, he married a human girl back in the day, and he basically married a girl, had a child, and had Annabelle's father. So that's actually technically her grandfather. Let's just say that's Ebenezer Maxwell is Annabelle Pierce's grandfather, which is so weird, because I'm like, that's so weird. Like, she's part vampire, but never, like, she's not really, it skipped a generation, but, oh, actually, no, yeah, it skipped a generation, but Ebenezer didn't know Annabelle Pierce was his granddaughter at all. Like, he didn't know a thing about her. He died after, like, before she was born. And it was really, really weird, because the way it happened is that she was here as a child, and she came back as like a 30-year-old, but right before she was going to die, and she didn't know at all. But the way she died was that Ebenezer Maxwell, her own flipping grandfather, without even knowing, killed his own granddaughter. That's how she died. Well, like, she died, but it was really, really weird. Like, there was no signs of struggle. There was no sign of anything at all, but she was actually bitten by her own grandfather, and that caused her to die. And he drained her. He drained her to the full point of where she lost her whole spirit and her whole soul. And I was literally shocked and appalled. And then afterwards, like, he was actually was biting Annabelle. She had this weird type of her father knew about his father and didn't really know who he exactly was. And he wanted to do it, Annabelle's father wanted to do in much of his power to keep Annabelle safe from harm and monsters and whatever. And he basically did that. And when Ebenezer bit Annabelle, it basically killed him. And he like literally like a couple of days later after Annabelle died, the town council found out about her death and didn't really know what the kind of death to call it, and like they didn't really know what to do. And with Annabelle's home, they had to like actually a couple years afterwards they had to foreclose her home, and Ebenezer was there when they foreclosed her home. And with the kids there and the whole people going around, it was just really, really upsetting. And basically what happened is that Ebenezer, like after 6 years later, he kept Annabelle's body in this like this chamber, in this like frozen chamber, to keep her body semi decent where she wouldn't be all deceased and like old and crinkly. So what he did after 6 years of having her home being foreclosed, he put her body in her old home where she used to live, in her foreclosed home. It was so awkward and so weird that he left her there. And then later on, she actually kind of like her body, her spirit, basically kind of like split away from her actual body, and now she like is basically trapped in that foreclosed house for like the rest of eternity until someone actually frees her from that what to say, that horror, that the place that she doesn't want to be there anymore. Like she basically, like she later found out, like let's say about 2 years after they foreclosed her home and like she was already there and stuff like that, she basically came back and found out, she literally found out from like these old history books around her house in the vampire lore. Like she had vampire lore books in her house because she wanted to know about vampires and see what they were all about. And so she was reading the books, and then she found this history book, and like this book about all of her the vampire history and everything was going around with the town council back in the 1800s. She found out Ebenezer Maxwell, and with the news going around and like the news happening like about like 100 years afterwards, she found out some other newspapers in the book and found out that Ebenezer Maxwell was a vampire, and like he got married, had a kid and stuff like that, and it was really, really awkward and really weird. And then she found out, like, wait, hold up, that's my father as a baby. And then she's like started to think about all the memories and all the saying that he was, all the things that he said to Annabelle about oh, Ebenezer is not a very good man, he's a really, really strange man. And it was really awkward. And she found out, hold up, wait, I was killed by my own grandfather? That's jacked up on so many levels. It was so awkward, so weird. It really messed up her whole life. Like, she had so much to live for. She was actually gonna be a lawyer. Like, she was in the lawyer, like, she was like in the businessy lawyer career or whatever, and she was gonna be a lawyer. And she had her whole life set, like, she was gonna get engaged to her boyfriend John. And now, like, now she's gone forever, and she can no longer have kids. She's a ghost, and it's so weird that I can't believe she's gone. And there's so much more story to tell about her that I cannot explain in this whole video because it's only 14 minutes long. But either way, we already have gone into the screenshots already. But either way, I hope you guys really much enjoyed the speed build as much as I did. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of Annabelle Pierce. If you want to see her foreclosed home, I will link it down below for you guys to watch, of course, to see the other story I told back then. But either way, I am so happy that Sims has turned 17 years old today. I cannot believe it's been 17 years. I still love it to this day. I cannot wait to see what they come next. The bowling pack will be coming out soon. Hopefully one day it will come out. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, of course. And yeah, I hope you guys love it, and I will see you guys all in the very next video. Bye!